Fala galera, sejam bem-vindos a mais um vídeo do Expresso, esse aqui é especial. Hoje nós vamos falar com o ARON, o gringo do PICI, húngaro que torce por Fortaleza, é isso mesmo. O cara lá do outro lado conseguiu achar o Fortaleza, se apaixonou pelo clube e é com ele que a gente vai conversar agora.
Exatamente, Edmoso. E você que vai chegando aqui no vídeo já sabe, papoca o dedo no like, se inscreve no canal se ainda não for inscrito, compartilha esse vídeo aqui que tá muito legal, tá muito bacana. A gente pede demais que você compartilhe para todo mundo ter acesso a essa entrevista que foi muito legal, Edmoso.
Ok, ARON, é um prazer estar com você aqui. Você poderia falar um pouco sobre você?
Yeah, so I'm a 31-year-old man. I'm a sports journalist, which means that I do all sorts of things, sports, not just football. That's just my main passion. I live cover things like live texting important events, as well as going to events when the pandemic allows it, as well as making interviews and write longer analytical articles as well. So that's the professional part of things. Other than that, I used to have a lot of hobbies, like theater, for example. I've no longer an interest in it, sadly, but that's just how life is. Sometimes you pick up something different, passions and hobbies, and you kind of let go other things. And I don't know, I'm just a casual guy. I play video games. I go out with my friends to grab drink, these kind of things, you know.
ARON, como você conheceu o Fortaleza? Eu acho que é o que todo mundo quer saber. Como você conheceu o nosso amado Fortaleza Esporte Clube?
Yeah, I get this question a lot lately. So at the end of 2019, I figured out that I kind of want to learn about different football cultures and different football leagues in general. And I thought it would be fun to pick a team to follow instead of just picking a league randomly. And I had a couple of hundred people following me because I do this thing on Twitter where I share information about Hungarian football in English, so it would reach people who otherwise do not speak our language. And I asked them for suggestions, and one of my followers happened to be a Fortaleza fan. And so he told me all about the season in 2020, like what's it about, like how historical it is, about the head coach, about the fans, you know, just a basic idea. And then I got about, I don't know, eight to 10 teams or clubs as suggested. And of course, I did a little bit of background checking, and of all of them, I kind of felt like I clicked with Fortaleza the most. And also, it was part of the deal that as I was starting to follow the team in January, that was kind of the beginning of the season. So it was a nice thing to follow something from the beginning instead of jumping into the midway of a season. So that's pretty much how it happens. Just a person suggested it to me, and I liked it the most out of the options.
E como você tem visto esse começo de temporada com Fortaleza?
It was very interesting. It's a very different league and football culture altogether. Like the teams play very differently. I feel like the European approach is more tactical based and more disciplined, where in Brazil I found that people are more passionate and the matches are more heated, if it makes any sense. So it especially towards the end, that is sometimes just carnage, like people going forward don't really care about defense and just whatever happens, you know, and end to end, just battling it out. And the team with the biggest heart and work rate wins pretty much. So that's it's interesting to see, because I'm not I'm used to the European version of football, and altogether I felt like this was very different. I felt like it was such a roller coaster of a season for Fortaleza, as far as I could tell, because sometimes I saw the team play really, really well, and other times not so much. And it was a very emotional season for the fans, obviously, with threading the needle of staying in the league. But it was interesting because there was so much on the line, that the stakes were so high that it was very exciting to follow and see if it works out or not.
E qual foi o jogo mais emocionante do Fortaleza que você assistiu até agora?
That is so tough. It's hard to pick because I don't want to sound like I don't care, but it's just a giant blur in my mind. Like I've seen. So the issue with following this league is the time difference, and sometimes it's impossible for me to watch games because it starts like 2 a.m. in the morning for me. So I obviously can't watch everything, and then other obligations prevent me to watch it. So sometimes I spend a couple of weeks not watching, just checking the results, and then other times I can watch like 3 in a row. So it's it's hard to distinguish them. The last, I think the last game of the previous season for me personally was very emotional, because I was generally like genuinely scared a little bit, because it like the team looked so beaten mentally, and I knew that other games have to go a certain way, and a lot of goals have to be scored in order to have something truly problematic. But at times I felt like it's not impossible there. So to me, that was a game I actually stayed up very, very late. I think that started 3 in the morning here, and I watched it all the way through to see who wins the league and also what happens to Fortaleza. And it was tough because I interact with the fans as much as it allows me on Twitter, and they I felt so bad for the fans because everybody was so under the weather and just so emotionally exhausted. And I tried to make stupid memes about the coach and the certain players to make them feel better, just give them a laugh. So that was kind of emotional. At the end, I was just happy, like, oh, okay, still in the league, I get to sleep, everyone happy.
O Aaron, uma pergunta muito importante que a gente precisa fazer para ti é a seguinte: você tem algum jogador favorito nesse atual Fortaleza, nesse elenco atual? Segundo você tem acompanhado, qual o jogador que você prefere, que você mais gosta?
Am I allowed to swear a little bit? Okay, just in general, it's good to know. So my favorite has been so far Felipe Alves in goal, because he's just so cool, man. Like I'm yet to see that man nervous, and to say that after the last season is a huge statement. I feel like he's just so composed and calm and collected, and also saves a lot of penalties. It's a rare gift, but I think it's because he is so calm and collected is that he makes the opponents nervous, because they look at him and they feel like, oh fuck, he's gonna save my penalty. Other than him, I really like Romarinho. I get a lot of stick for it. And he played awful the last time I watched. It was heartbreaking, but I watched a lot of games where Fortaleza played really poorly last season, and he was, for me, almost the only player who still tried to do something special, who had his creative runs and dribbling, and I don't know, I just felt like out of that bunch, I enjoyed him the most, as his style. But in the current squad, I think I'm leaning towards PICI right now. Not only for the memes, but also he's also a very technical player, so I can really appreciate his efforts and his plays, and I mean just watch his goal against Chapecoense. He's brilliant. So I would say those three are my favorites right now.
E Aaron, você já ouviu falar de algum grande jogador do passado do Fortaleza? Como um Rinaldo, um Clodoaldo, um Cassiano? Já ouviu falar um pouco do passado do Leão?
I get a couple of names thrown at me. I did a little bit of checking before I started to follow the team. But if I'm honest, I already forgot about most of them. One of the most frequented questions I get nowadays is if I know what Casiano Day is. So obviously I know that one. And I've seen a couple of footages of him and that specific day, of course. So I'm aware of him, but there's still much to learn. Let's put it that way.
Pra gente caminhar aqui para os finalmente, acho que a grande pergunta que todo torcedor do Fortaleza quer saber e ouvir de você, Aaron, é se você já veio ao Brasil, especificamente a Fortaleza, ou se você pretende vir aqui para poder conhecer de pertinho o espetáculo do nosso torcedor, né?
I have not been in South America. And I mean, a lot of people ask me if I have some sort of connection to Brazil specifically, but the answer is sadly no, nothing yet. But I hope that one day when the pandemic is over, I have the financial background to do it. I have the amount of free time and all those sorts of things sorted. I would love to visit the team one day and check the stadium, meet with the fans, and just experience the whole thing all together would be nice. So it's one day I will. Unfortunately, not yet.
E Aaron, como é que foi essa história na Euro que você pôde fazer com que mais pessoas conhecessem o Fortaleza no meio de um jogo tão especial?
You mean that one?
Yeah.
Right. So, this might take a couple of minutes. So, when I announced on Twitter, like, okay, I picked Fortaleza and I'm gonna follow the team and see what happens, I immediately got like 200 fans following me there, and one of them, I don't want to say names because I think it's it should be their privilege to say it was them and not mine to throw their names into public public knowledge. So there was one guy who messaged me and was like, and he went like, okay, I need to send you a shirt. And I really didn't want anyone to pay anything. I didn't mean to get anything from this project of mine or hobby of mine, but he was very adamant for a long period. And one day I felt like, okay, let's check. It's about time we get a jersey, because I usually would pick a t-shirt on match days like this one, where it's like it has the colors with the blue and red and potentially a little bit of white in it too, but it's just not the same. And then I learned more about how Fortaleza manufactures its own jersey, sorry. And I gave in the end, and so I managed to get a pin and that jersey from that fan, which I'm very, very grateful for. It's ginormous, but I'm a tiny man. This thing is huge. And as I mentioned, I'm a journalist, so I worked a lot on the European Championship, because I guess you guys know, but it's scattered around Europe this year. There's 11 hosting cities, and Budapest is one of them. and I was lucky enough to get accreditation for it. So I went to the matches in Budapest, and I just kind of thought, like, there's this few hundreds of Fortaleza fans with me. It would be fun to bring the jersey to the stadium and just make a picture of it. And truth to be told, I already wanted it to do against Portugal, but I kind of forgot it. It was in my backpack. And then against France, I had a very, very long work day because we played against France from 9 p.m. And the match ended around 11. So, and afterwards I had a lot of work with interviews and press conferences and stuff like that. So by the time I left the stadium, it was past midnight, and I was very, very tired. And then it suddenly dawned on me, like, oh yeah, there's this jersey with me that I wanted to make a picture with. So I decided to just go for it, to just make the picture, because otherwise I will forget it the next time as well. So I just kind of made the picture. I was hesitant to post it, to be honest, because I felt like I'm not respecting the badge enough with just grabbing it in front of the stadium. But it was very, very late. I was very tired, and I thought, like, okay, let's make it work. Like, let's put the badge in front of the stadium and just focus on that, so it doesn't feel like I'm disrespecting the jersey itself or something like that. So I posted that in like thinking that will make people happy in Brazil, and I was on the bus going home, and I was checking my phone, and I saw that a lot of fans liked it, mostly the people who follow me. And then I got home. It was nothing out of the normal things. And then when I woke up, there was like 5 million notifications and messages. And then there's this thing, because there's 11 hosting cities, UEFA created these fan zones where you can watch the games. And there's like a huge billboard which shows different tweets that uses the hashtag EuroCup, hashtag Euro 2020. And I did that with my jersey. So it ended up in Glasgow in the fan zone. And so I shared that one too, because I found it really funny. And then even more people started to message me. And then Fortaleza itself, like the club, shared the story as well. And then it became insane. Like I got 8 to 10 notifications every minute, a lot of comments, a lot of messages, and I still felt like it's manageable until someone told me in my DMs, like, oh, you of course know that you're a big deal now on Instagram too. And I barely use my Instagram, so I had no idea. And I checked it, and there was already 60 unread messages, and I usually get like 20 likes on pictures whenever I take them. And my very recent picture had like 300 likes at that point, and about 200 comments on it with Bora Leão, thanks for representing us, just overall positive and nice things. So it was kind of insane. I never experienced the likes of this, so it was very, very interesting to experience. It took about 2 days until it kind of calmed down. You are muted.
Se desmuta.
Sorry for that. Aaron, tu tem alguma coisa para falar para a torcida? Tem algum recado que você gostaria de deixar para eles?
I would like to thank all the nice messages and the support. I really appreciate it. I've seen a lot of people messaging the club to send me a jersey from this year, and when I got mine, the fan who sent it to me told me that he specifically picked this one because it has so much historical emphasis. Like, it's a very important year and phase in the history of the club. So I felt like it was a nice gesture. And I just wanted to say that I appreciate that people wanted me to get my own jersey, but I also, dislike is a strong word, but I felt a little bit uncomfortable because I I saw how passionately people wanted the club to send me something, and it is not why I do this. I'm just having fun following a club, learning about the club and learning about football culture, and I don't mean to take anything from this. And the same goes with, like, I've got messages to say this and that about different clubs, and mainly banters and jokes and whatnot, but I really don't want to disrespect other clubs, even jokingly, because it comes off differently from a foreigner's perspective, in my opinion. So if you say something jokingly, then people will probably know that you mean it as a joke, and it's just a different thing. Whereas if I make the same joke, it's just like an asshole from abroad who is making fun of their club. So I would rather not do these kind of things, but to not focus on the negatives. I'm very, very appreciative on how many people sent me a message, and the fans were always the biggest appeal in this hobby, because I saw the passion, I saw all the chants, the choreographs and in the stadiums, and all together, I've been very welcomed from the first minute. When I started to tweet about these things, I didn't know what to expect from the fans, because it's a foreigner speaking about the club in a language that may or may not be known, because not everybody speaks English, which is absolutely fine. I am the foreigner in this scenario, so I didn't know what to expect, but no one ever made me feel like I'm a foreigner. Like, I've been welcomed from the get-go. People were always really supportive of me. They always talk to me respectfully and nicely. So I would like to thank everybody who did that, and I'm very grateful for all of you and all of the nice messages that I got from you. I really appreciate it. And I'm doing my best to reply to everybody who reaches out, because nowadays I get a lot of messages, but it's getting a little bit harder now, but I try my best. And whenever I can watch games, I will watch them, and probably gonna make a thread where I comment on it, so everybody can see my point of view in it. So in general, just thanks to everybody who has been kind enough to send me a message, and just the support.
Quero só agradecer, né, cara, por ele se disponibilizar a participar aqui com a gente, mas que tinha muita gente do nosso torcedor curioso para saber quem era, o que fazia, onde vive, o porquê de ter essa relação com o Fortaleza. A gente fica muito feliz aqui enquanto Expresso Tricolor de recebê-lo na nossa mídia alternativa, e que as portas estarão sempre abertas para ele. Sempre que ele precisar se comunicar diretamente com o nosso torcedor, pode contar sempre com a gente.
Muito obrigado, Aaron, por sua participação. Foi muito interessante a gente poder conhecer um pouco mais de você, e que se repita mais algumas vezes para a gente conhecer cada vez mais. Um abraço, Aaron.
See you guys. Bora, Leão.
Bora, Leão.
O refugo do ano!
O refugo do ano? Was that?
Yeah, o refugo do ano. Paulo Matheus is already laughing because it is so funny.
O refugo do ano.
Very nice, very nice. Thank
Was
you
that good?
so much. Yeah, it was. O refugo do ano.